Hello, good to have you again. Welcome to Surviving to Thriving for Highly Sensitives. And I am your host, Tammy Goen, high sensitivity coach. And my goal is to just help you get past the struggle, the barely surviving mode, being highly sensitive, and really being able to embrace your trait and be able to make it the superpower, the gift that it really is. By having the right tools and understanding and information. So I'm glad to have you here. And this month is going to be all about the nervous system. Excuse me. So first, let's talk about why that is. Why is this important for highly sensitives? I mean, these days, a lot, especially since COVID, a lot of people are feeling stress and the anxiety and why is that any different for us? But the reality is that highly sensitives really do tend to experience more stress, more anxiety, more things that just inundate them. And we need to have a certain baseline in our nervous system to be able to manage all of that. So you may have heard me talk before that, we as highly sensitives are like giant sponges. We soak all this stuff up and we just don't have the same filter system that non-highly sensitives do. And that stuff just keeps pouring in and pouring in and pouring in. So, and if we think about, how we're made, how we process things, our nervous system really starts off at a much more amped level than typical. So we have less room to be putting all of that, information in. Filling up that bucket happens a lot faster, that input bucket. So it's really important to focus on that nervous system. So let's just say, for an example, how many times, and I'm sure you're going to be like, oh, okay, yeah. How many times have you planned something for the end of your day? And maybe it's a great fun dinner with a friend, and you're so looking forward to it, very excited. You make that plan in the morning. And then the day happens and you do all of your chores and all of the things for work and all of the phone calls and emails and everything that's coming in throughout the whole day, all the time. And you get to the end of that day, and instead of being inspired and excited and energized to go have this meeting, this dinner, this activity with your friend, you just back out. You just don't have the bandwidth. You're feeling totally exhausted. You have no energy for it. It sounds like the worst thing that you could possibly do, even though it's really, really fun, right? And you're super disappointed. So I would imagine something like that has happened more than once if you are highly sensitive. Or you hear a lot of people saying, why is this a big deal for you? It's not a big deal. Just don't worry about it. Or you just have a sense that, why is it that all of these things affect me so much when everyone else, which of course is just the 80%, but that everyone else is able to just not worry about it and let it go. And it's not a big deal. And a lot of that has to do with our nervous system. It's the very first thing that I work on with all of my clients, all of my HSP clients. To really focus on creating a practice and a way for getting that nervous system to amp down so that there's a lot more room for all of that input to come in and be attended to. So if we look at the idea of what is the nervous system, we have this nervous system that has kind of two different sections, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic, and you've probably heard of fight or flight. So we have one system that's fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. All of these things that we do if we're being chased by a tiger. You've probably heard that example. But anything that when the body thinks there's danger, something is happening, we have to be prepared to run, we have to protect ourselves, then you shift into that mode, that fight or flight mode, and everything else, the calming, the processing, the digesting, all of that kind of stuff kind of gets put on hold. And it's just bare bones for that system, because your body is saying, no, we have to take care of this. This is imminent. We must do this now. And so HSPs tend to stay in that fight or flight mode quite a lot of the time, if not all the time, if we don't have the right tools. So we really want to be able to calm that nervous system, lower that baseline, shift from fight or flight into rest and digest, the other part of that, the parasympathetic system that says, oh, everything is fine, I'm safe, life is good. Now I'm going to heal myself. I'm going to digest my food. I'm going to, just overall be calm and let my body relax. And the reality is, and you may have heard this, but we can literally make ourselves sick by not taking care of our nervous system and having too much of that input without some way to manage that, and without having more room to take all of that information in. So if we're constantly feeling under attack, that's what our body is saying, then we don't have that time to rest and digest and heal and recharge and take care of ourselves, and our body can't manage that. And so we actually affect ourselves at a cellular level. If we're stressed a lot of the time, our life expectancy is actually less. We're probably going to have more health problems. There's just a lot of effects from too much stress reaction. There's stressors in the world all the time. It's just what we do with them. And if we're in fight or flight all the time because of those stressors, then we're not going to be in a healthy place as we go forward to have a nice, long, healthy life. So it really, really is so important, especially for highly sensing people, to, it's important for everyone, but it's especially important for us to have that, that focus of calming that nervous system so that we can have our healthy and happy and long life. And it doesn't have to be compromised just because we have this high sensitivity. So let's talk a little bit about, just being in that constant mode of, let me step back for just a moment. Sometimes we are in a state of fight or flight and we don't even recognize it. It just becomes so automatic and so common that we say, oh no, I'm doing pretty well. I'm queen with this of saying, no, I think, I've got these tools, I do all of these things and I'm pretty good. And then I have some kind of a reaction that lets me know, nope, I've been taking in this energy, taking in these vibrations. I've been, not purposefully enough, taking care of myself in that way. And things do start to accumulate and start to bother me. And that will happen if we are not paying attention every single day, as much throughout the day as we can, to taking care of our nervous system. It will just eventually get, jammed up and it's like, okay, wait, I can't, there's not, it's full. Everything's pouring out of the bucket. There's no room for anything else to come in. And it's just so common that we, excuse me, we can end up not realizing that we are taking that stuff in, that we are at a level of stress, because we can say, oh, on the surface, no, I feel pretty good. How are you doing today? No, I'm doing okay. But if you're not really taking care of it on an ongoing basis, your body is still in that fight or flight mode. You might not recognize it, but you're going through your whole day, your week, your month, your year from this place of, everything's not okay, it's not safe, and the body reacts. So it's just so important to be aware of it. And it's easy once you start to say, oh yeah, I can pay attention to that, and then not stick with it like as an actual goal or technique or practice every single day to make sure that's being attended to. And otherwise we end up just kind of swimming and not even knowing that we're having these issues. So it can be really challenging for highly sensing folks who are in a relationship or in a family with people who are not highly sensing. And we can expect ourselves to do just as much as everyone else because we're very capable people. I mean, there's no reason we technically can't do these things. And we expect ourselves to just be able to do everything that everyone else does, to have all the energy that everyone does. Like, I should be able to go and have this dinner with my friend. My friend worked all day too. There doesn't seem to be a problem. He's ready to meet up, and I'm just done. I just can't do it. And then sometimes we feel like just, crawling into bed or, finding a hole somewhere. And that's the body saying, please, I need to be recharged. I need to be taken care of. Otherwise, I'm going to be constantly in this fight or flight. And so we really need to pay attention. That's part of, taking care of ourselves in general, is just saying, I'm going to do these things specifically for calming my nervous system. And that will help me overall to be able to handle so much more. So I want to take you through a couple techniques that can be helpful for this, just on the spot. You don't have to meditate for this. I'll be talking about meditation later because there's extreme value with that. But it's something that you can do anywhere you are, and it's pretty quick, and it really does help immediately to lower that threshold and to calm that nervous system so you can shift from fight or flight to rest and digest. So the first thing is always, in my book, breathing. And that might seem a little simplistic, but breath is really important. Not only does every single process, every system, every cell of our body need a really good amount of oxygen. And we tend to, especially if we're in this fight or flight mode, even if we're not aware of it, to breathe really shallow breaths and pretty quickly. And that's what kind of also gives another signal to the body, like, oh, there's danger. We're not relaxed. We're breathing, short and shallow. And it's an indicator, that, okay, life isn't okay. So when we shift to our breathing practice, if we shift to a slower, very calm and lengthier breath, it triggers our body to say, oh, wait, I think maybe everything's okay. Yeah, things are good. So the breathing is super important because it's instantaneous. And if you think about, if you have children, if you have had, or if you remember being around children, say, especially a toddler who's tantruming, and the parent will say, okay, just stop, breathe, just breathe, right? And why is that? Why is that helpful? Because what happens is that the slowing the breath down triggers the body to say everything's okay, and specifically by triggering the vagus nerve, which you may be hearing about these days, and it automatically, that connects with pretty much every level of our body, but as soon as that happens, it's that indicator that, oh, right, rest and digest. I can just relax now. Life is okay. I'm safe. So the easiest way to do that is shift that breathing. So if you can slow your breathing down to a rate of 10 seconds or so in breath, out breath, or even a little bit longer, but you want to make sure it's still comfortable for you and it doesn't create any panic. And there's lots of different ways to breathe. You can hold in between. Sometimes that makes people panicky. I have a client right now who said, I've never been really good with breathing, and I get to that place and I hold it and then I panic. And yeah, you need to make it exactly how it resonates for you in particular. But the keys to the breathing are making it really deep and slow, more than normal. And then again, if you can do 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, average, about that speed, that's going to be really helpful. And then in terms of the vagus nerve, it actually gets activated better if you have the exhale slightly longer than the inhale. So that might be, 5 beats, 5 breath, or 5 counts, 5 seconds in and 7 out. Or if that seems like too much, sometimes for me to exhale that long feels a little bit like, I'm gonna be taking a big deep breath that I don't like, too fast, that I don't want to do. Sometimes that works really great. Sometimes for me, having too short of an in-breath creates the same thing. So you just need to practice with it and see what works for you the best. But if you can make the exhale just a little bit longer, even if it's just 1 count longer, that helps the vagus nerve to activate and get you in that calm place. And it happens so quickly. If you think of something that's really bothering you and that leads to some feelings of stress, you probably notice that your breathing, shortens, gets shallow and quick. And then if you just say, I'm just going to breathe slowly and deeply, and just do that, you'll feel immediate relief in your level of tension and anxiety. Now, it's not going to make everything go away immediately like that, but just doing that in that moment signals again that the body is safe, and you will immediately feel that release in that tension or the anxiety. And so if you can do that for hopefully like a full minute. So you can do this at work, you can do this while you're driving, you can do it at home, wherever, and nobody needs to know that you're doing anything, right? People can't really tell that you've changed your breathing unless they're like really looking at you. So go ahead and just practice that right now if you want, if that works for you. Just get in a nice comfortable position, make sure you're upright and nice, good posture. And then just pay attention to that breath and see if you can get the in-breath to be nice and slow, not hurried, not stressed, nothing at all, just relaxed. And then as you exhale, let it be nice and long, let it all go out, release all of the air. Let it be a little bit longer than that inhale. And if you'd like, and it's okay, you can count. So maybe counting in 2, 3, 4, 5, and out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or even 7, and then in 2, 3, 4, 5. So just maintaining that nice slow rhythm. Try to keep it the same each time, with that emphasis on that exhale being nice and long, but not to that place of I got to breathe. Make sure that that's comfortable, but try to do it a little bit longer. So just that simple breathing practice will make a huge difference. And if you can practice that multiple times throughout the day, even if you're not noticing that you're feeling stressed, you can just practice it and say, oh, I've got a little time here while I'm waiting. I'm just going to practice my breathing and just focus on it coming in through your nose. You can exhale through your nose or your mouth. It doesn't matter, whatever works best for you. And then just shift into that rhythm and feel the difference in your body just by doing that breath, that shift in how that breathing pattern works. It's really, really powerful. And it's really easy to teach kids. It's a really great thing for kids to learn, whether they're highly sensitive or not, just as a way to regulate and be able to keep taking stuff in, whether they're at school or, playing with their friends or in some kind of a social situation or doing chores at home, whatever. If they get a little uptight, you can teach them the same thing. Anybody can do it, just nice and slow and steady, and just focus on that air coming in and the air going out. And then you can add a little bit to it if you want by putting your hand on your belly. And one of the things that really helps to improve breathing function is to think of, your lungs are going to move, right? Your chest is going to move as a result of that, because that's where our air comes in. But we use our diaphragm to actually do the breathing. So if we focus on our belly and do what they call belly breathing, we can expand the belly as if you have a balloon in your belly. Just visualize that you have a balloon in there. And as you bring the air in, yes, it's coming in through your nose, but instead of focusing on your chest and immediately raising the chest and having that inflate, think about raising that belly as if that was a balloon. And so your hand will actually move. So if I breathe just with my chest, let me adjust this just a little. If I breathe just with my chest, you'll see my chest move. And my hand's not really doing much. But if I focus on my belly, my chest eventually does move because it's going to be bringing that air into the chest. And then on my exhale, I can let it all out of my chest. And then at the end, and I know in this video, it's a little harder to see unless I'm on a side view. But if you think of having that balloon in there and you're letting your hand expand and then retract, your lungs are going to take over. They're going to do what they're supposed to do. But this helps you get a really nice full breath. And it really takes your mind off of everything else and focuses in on that breath. It's like, oh, wait, I have to let my belly expand. And then retract it. That helps you stay real focused on that breathing. So this is just a really powerful tool, always the first thing that I teach. And again, you can do it anywhere. If you try it multiple times throughout the day, it's really going to help you to calm, the first step in calming that nervous system. And it can be just immensely surprising, powerful. And if somebody does catch you doing that and say, what are you doing? You can say, oh, I'm just doing some deep breathing. And they'll probably be wanting to do it with you or say, oh, well, how's that work for you? Or, what's that like? and you can teach them, help them. But I mean, I don't know of anybody that's ever had a negative experience by choosing to do some deep breathing and have somebody else knowing that they were doing it. So calming the nervous system, very, very important. And we'll be talking about it different aspects throughout the month. So hopefully we'll see you again next time, and we can work through some other ideas and some other techniques. But be practicing that breathing. It will be really, really powerful, really important for calming that system. And I think you'll find it to be extremely not just helpful, but like something that you want to have on a daily basis in a regular practice for calming that system. So thank you, highly sensing people, for being here. And if you have any questions, always reach out. I do have a link in the description for my current course, which is very extensive. It's like all things that I'm going to be hitting this entire year in the show here. But it does start with calming the nervous system. That's the first module. There are 9 modules, so it's pretty comprehensive. So that link is available there. So you can check that out if that resonates with you. And thank you so much. We'll see you next time.